Clock Tower was released exclusively in Japan on the Super Famicom way back in September 1995. Yep. That means it never made it to Europe or North America. What I played for this review was a reproduction cart from the now defunct Time Walk Games. They took the translated ROM from the internet and released it on a home cartridge. Since this is running on my Super Nintendo through RGB out, what you're seeing here is the highest possible quality available, although it is technically a ROM hack, so there could be some unforeseen graphical hiccups. I had actually never played this game before and was shocked by just how great it is. What makes Clock Tower so awesome is that it's a pre-PlayStation 1 era survival horror game, and there aren't many of those around. Sure, Alone in the Dark is credited with establishing the genre, and Sweet Home, a phenomenal Famicom-only game made by Shinji Mikami, who is Mr. Resident Evil himself, were both released prior to Clock Tower. It still amazes me just how creepy this game can get. I'm fairly certain the video footage won't truly depict the sense of fear the game gives off because, well, I won't shut up. But believe me, play this game alone with the lights off and with the volume blasting through your speakers and you will be scared. Clock Tower sees a group of orphan girls getting adopted by one Mr. Barrows, who just so happens to own one massive manor known as the Clock Tower. You play as Jennifer, one of the newly adopted. The game begins with the girls arriving at the manor and waiting for Mary to go find Mr. Barrows. Mary is the one who picked the group up at the orphanage and brought them back to the Clock Tower Manor. For some reason, Mary sure is taking her sweet time, so Jennifer decides to go looking for her. As soon as she leaves the room, she hears a scream, she races back and finds all of her friends are gone and the lights are out. The game is made up of 36 rooms or areas. These never change, however, everything else pretty much does, depending on how you play the game. Let's say you run straight to the kitchen. Well, Scissor Man, someone you'll get to know very well, might only pop up later than if you ran straight into the bathroom, for example. Your goal is to find your friends and hightail it out of the manor, but doing so will be no easy task, thanks in no small part to the psychotic child killer, Scissor Man. That's right, Scissor Man is actually a 9-year-old. See why this wasn't released in North America? The game was actually inspired by Dario Argento's Phenomena, which is known as Creepers in North America. The game shares a lot of similarities with the movies, such as having a main protagonist named Jennifer, they even look the same, and also featuring a deformed child killer and more. If you're interested, I would highly recommend you go check out the movie before playing the game, just so you could see all the different similarities, and it's actually rather surprising. In terms of gameplay, it's quite unique for a Super Nintendo game. In essence, it's a very simple adventure game. You move a cursor around the screen and issue point-and-click commands to Jennifer. Pressing the L button will allow her to run left, pressing the R button allows her to run right. X cancels your last command and Y issues a command. Pressing the A button brings up your inventory screen where you can keep a collection of different items that you've located around the manor. Finally, the B button is only used when Jennifer is so scared her portrait starts to flash. Speaking of which, that's the only on-screen indicator of how she's doing. It's her strength, stamina, or fear bar depending on who you ask. If she's in perfect shape and isn't scared at all, it will be blue, which will allow her to fend off Scissor Man or other sort of nasty surprises that happen to her. However, if the portrait is red and she stumbles onto pretty much anything, well, she can die almost instantly. Scissor Man is an extremely disturbing individual. He pops up seemingly randomly throughout the game, and the only way to escape is to run away and find a place to hide. You have absolutely no weapons in this game whatsoever. The items you locate are all used for solving puzzles. This means you're always on the edge of your seat because you never know when that little bastard's gonna pop out and whether you'll be able to locate a hiding spot quick enough. Outside of hiding from Scissor Man and solving puzzles, you simply move from one room or area to the next. The game is set up much like the original Resident Evil many years later, with you having to locate a series of keys in order to unlock certain doors to progress further in the mansion. Same idea here. There are a wide assortment of endings which range from Jennifer leaving everyone behind to save herself, which is hysterical, I did that one of the first times I played the game, all the way through to a very special ending which requires you to do a very specific series of events in order to unlock. There are actually 9 different endings in total, and you'll unlock them based entirely on which rooms you enter, which friends you're able to save, and who you see die first. It's incredible and forces you to memorize all the different areas of the mansion. I played through the game around 4 times, and my experience was radically different each time. Now I want to go back and unlock all the other endings. The game is really fair when it comes to deaths. Unlike other survival horror games, there's no real penalty for dying. You can simply continue directly in the last room you were at. That said, it is entirely possible to put yourself in a situation that you cannot escape from, thereby forcing you to start the game over from the beginning. Now don't worry though, you can finish the whole game in around 35 minutes or less once you know more or less the progression of the game and what you need to do. Part of what makes Clock Tower so damn impressive are the superb graphics and the phenomenal audio. There are only a handful of music tracks in the whole game, and they only play when something is really wrong. Everything else is ambient noises, and I never expected the SNES to elicit such unease in me. I mean, this is a 16-bit game for goodness sakes, and I was genuinely creeped out quite often. If you want to experience a survival horror game from before the genre was truly popular, go hunt down a reproduction cart or download your favorite emulator and give this one a try. I don't usually recommend people emulate video games, but there's really no other way to enjoy this classic game. Sadly, even the PS1 remake called Clock Tower First Fear never made it outside Japan either, so you're stuck no matter what you really want to do if you want to play the game in English. Like I said though, it is well worth experiencing at least once, so go out, grab a copy, and enjoy.